Hello, amateur sleuths and detectives. Are you ready to solve a murder? Hello, murder mystery and Agatha Christie enthusiasts. My name is Lexi and welcome back to my channel. Today is a very exciting day because today I am attempting to solve an Agatha Christie murder mystery in just 24 hours. And honestly, I feel like that is a lot of pressure. But first, a couple of words from today's sponsor. Thank you, Blueland, for sponsoring today's video. There are many mysteries that are hard to solve in life, but one thing that is not a mystery to me is what I choose to clean my house with, and that is Blueland. Blueland creates cleaning products from naturally derived ingredients that are people-friendly and planet-friendly. They don't use single plastics in any component from bottles, tablets, and wrappers to shipping, and their tablet packaging is also fully compostable. Their products are also effective and affordable, and you can even save more by buying refills in bulk or setting up a subscription. So I was very kindly sent the Blueland dishwasher starter kit and also the Clean Essentials kit, and I love both so much. The Blueland Clean Essentials kit comes with refillable bottles for their foaming hand wash, glass cleaner, bathroom cleaner, and multi-purpose cleaner, along with the individual tablets for each cleaner. And their dishwasher starter kit comes with dishwasher tablets and a container to hold them. And setting these up is really easy. You just fill up the bottles to the line with warm water, drop the Blueland tablet in, and wait for it to dissolve. Turn the bottle on to spray and clean away. I use these in my bathroom and my kitchen, and oh my god, I genuinely love using them. Now, I have only been using Blueland for a little bit, but I have to say, in that short amount of time, I have really become a huge fan of the company, and I highly recommend checking them out. Not only are they great for the environment, but also their products work so well, and so I just could not recommend them more. If you would like to check them out for yourself, you can actually get 15% off by using and clicking the link down below in my description. I highly recommend checking them out. Thank you again so much to Blueland for sponsoring today's video, and use the link down below in my description to get 15% off your order. And now, back to the video. So in this vlog, I will be attempting to solve my very first Agatha Christie murder mystery in just 24 hours. While I have read Agatha Christie before, I have never actually tried solving an Agatha Christie. This concept was first introduced to me by one of my very best friends, Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin. And the whole reason I am attempting this is because he invited me and all of my patrons to a Halloween party where we tried to solve this together. And I love this concept so much. He's already done a vlog. I highly recommend checking it out. I will link it down below. And so this was sort of my attempt to try to do what he does best, and that is solve a murder. And for today's murder mystery, we are going to be reading and solving Agatha Christie's Halloween Party, which I feel like is perfect for this season. Also, just a little bit of a warning. There will obviously be spoilers for this book throughout the entirety of this video because I'm gonna be trying to guess who killed who before I finish reading the book. So before we dive into the actual vlog, let me tell you the setup of the case. So this book is a Poirot detective novel, and in this particular book, he is approached by one of his friends who attends a Halloween party for children. And the age range for this party is anywhere from 12, I think, all the way up to 18. While this party is being set up, a girl named Joyce claims that she has once seen a murder. And then later, at the end of the party, Joyce herself is murdered, and Joyce is a 12-year-old girl. And so Detective Poirot comes onto the case and tries to figure out who exactly murdered Joyce, and if she actually saw a murder, or if her murder was completely unrelated to the murder she might have seen. So that is the setup. Now let me tell you what I'll be using to actually crack the case. And now let's see if I can actually solve an Agatha Christie murder mystery case in less than 24 hours. Hello, spooky friends. I am so excited because today is the day that I'm actually going to start trying to read and crack the case for Halloween Party. I've been told that I should read until the end of chapter 24, but that 25 on is when like all the spoilery stuff happens. So we are not going to be doing that until the Patreon party with Gavin and all of our Patreons. I actually just started sprints with all of my patrons, and I am so incredibly excited to start taking notes for this book. I've got my notebook here. I've got my annotation kit here. I have to be honest, I'm very excited to see if I can actually connect the dots with like real twine, or what is this? I don't think it's twine. It's like knit stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make myself a fresh cup of coffee, join my patron sprints, and start trying to see if I can crack the Agatha Christie murder mystery. Also, you guys, how ironic is this? I just found this on my desk randomly, but doesn't that feel so appropriate for this murder mystery? Where did this come from? But how amazing is that? I'm gonna go ahead and make myself a cozy cup of coffee and start trying to read The Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. Let's do it. Okay, hi, I am officially here. Day number 1, ready to start reading. I just started reading sprints with my patrons. I've just got myself a cozy cup of coffee. I think I'm just gonna spend the whole day doing reading sprints with all of my patrons and reading this book. And I am interested to see if I can actually crack the case. So here we go. Okay, I am color coordinating everyone's names. Joyce is our murder victim, and so she is in red. She is gonna go in the middle. Anytime there is a person, I am putting them on a card in yellow. Now, there's a lot of people that are being mentioned because this is literally a party. And so I don't know if I'm going to need every single one of these, but for now, I'm just gonna put the people kind of around Joyce's name. So far, I would just like to point out that there are a lot of names. I'm on page 8, okay? This is all from page 8. Joyce, I need something to point with. I found a spatula and a wooden spoon. So, page 8, Joyce has not died yet, but there is one incident. So, people are in yellow, Joyce, the murder victim, is in red, and any incident I'm going to put in green. But there is something that Joyce has said, and this is probably why she's been murdered, and it is this. Joyce insisted that she saw a murder on page 7, and then on page 8 she said, I would have reported it, but I didn't know it was a murder until later on. I'm pretty sure so far all of the characters mentioned have heard her say this. I already kind of think it's one of these people, but we'll see. I think I might connect everyone who heard her say this with this thread. This is exciting. I have to tell you, this is really exciting. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go back to trying to read more of Agatha Christie. Okay, I'm taking just a little bit of a break because a sleuth has got to eat, you know what I mean? So we've got a grilled cheese sandwich with sourdough bread and some homemade tomato soup. And by homemade, I mean, I bought it from Panera and then I heated it up. Hello everyone, I am currently finishing up my reading sprints with my lovely patrons. They wanted to say hi to the vlog, so let me show really quick and then I will close out the sprint sadly and continue on with Halloween Party. Not sad about that though, because it is a really good book. Okay, also I know, again, this has nothing to do with detective work, but I am gonna have some of these almond biscottis from Trader Joe's with some piping hot tea. Also, I changed into something kind of cozy and comfy. I'm having such a good time. Cookie break.
You guys, these are what every detective girl needs. You know what I mean? Like, they are here to save the day.
Okay, so one thing that I think I'm also going to track are possible motives. So far, we have two possible motives. The first one is one that the police are saying, and that is dating the wrong guy, like a guy who is actually a bad person who wants to hurt Joyce. The second thing though, her death was the result of having witnessed a murder, and the murderer was present that night, which would have meant that Joyce saw the murder, but not the murderer's face. So far, the two motives are either love or death. Exciting stuff. Okay. We can also add a couple more names to our board.
We've got Desmond, who is a teen boy. And then we've also got Nicholas Ransom, who's from the East Coast, 17 to 18 years old, and apparently very handsome. The police seem to think it might have been one of these two boys because of the whole love motive. I'm gonna go ahead and add Anne. I don't think a 12-year-old girl murdered another 12-year-old girl. I actually also need to check her age. And then finally, this lady was not here when Joyce mentioned the murders, but she did come to the party and she was a part of it. Her name is Mrs. Goodbody, and she was dressed up as a witch, but she's actually a cleaning woman.
Also, her name is literally Mrs. Goodbody. What a great pickup pun would this be? The name is literally Mrs. Goodbody. Hey, are you an Agatha Christie character, or do you just have a good body? All right, I'll stop. No new clues yet. I'm gonna keep on reading and I'll update you soon. Okay. Okay, so here is the new information. So Poirot was talking to his little police person bestie, Spencer, and Spencer was there chatting with his sister. They're basically trying to like fill in the gaps so that Poirot can kind of like know more about the town, the community, and like possible suspects and things like that, right? Okay, so Poirot points out that if Joyce did see the murder, it would probably look like an accidental death or like a death of natural causes. And so he asks his police officer friend and his sister, did anybody like die suddenly in the last couple of years? And they're like, yeah, actually. They give him a list of names and then they mention a Mrs. Llewellyn Smith. Now, Mrs. Llewellyn Smith right here, she was 65 years old, and this lady apparently just randomly died. Now, she did have an existing heart condition, okay? But when she died, it was very, very sudden, and everyone was kind of surprised, even the doctor, Dr. Ferguson, who I believe was actually at the party that night as well. Now, I'm mixing timelines because we're talking about two different things. We're talking about an accidental death of like natural causes or whatever that happened a couple of years ago, and I'm also mentioning the party at the same time. This is gonna be kind of confusing, but okay. So Dr. Ferguson, I believe, was at the party with Joyce, and I also believe that he originally diagnosed this Llewellyn Smith lady who died a couple of years ago from heart problems. Now, what was interesting about this lady's death is that she wasn't that old. She was only 65. And while she did have heart problems, it was quite sudden. But the weird thing about it was that she was rich, okay? And like, we love that for her. She apparently had rewritten her will a couple of different times, but she always left the bulk of her money to her nephew and to her nephew's wife. But she decided randomly that she was going to leave all of her money to the au pair who had been looking after her, even though the au pair had only known her for a year. And as soon as this lady died, the au pair disappeared without a trace. But do you know who was going to get all of the money before the au pair came into the picture? This lady up here, who was the hostess of the party. That's right, Rowena Drake was the one who was supposed to inherit all of Llewellyn Smith's money before she... Okay, which means we can start to do some threads.
Okay, so here's what we're working with just right now. This lady died several years ago, and when she died, she left all of her money to some random au pair. I should probably put the au pair on here as well. Now, her money was supposed to go to her niece. This was the person who was hosting this entire party. Dr. Ferguson is the same person who diagnosed the death and said that she died from heart complications. So I need to also do a thread because he not only is connected to her, but he also went to her party. Okay, so this is what it's looking like now. I also have to update this because we've learned that Anne isn't just some random person who hates Joyce. Anne is her older sister. She's not 12, she's actually 16 years old. And Anne, it's pretty clear, cannot stand her little sister. I have also gone ahead and put on here that Mrs. Llewellyn Smith died of natural causes / had a will change. And to this event, which is in green, I have attached Dr. Ferguson because he pronounced her dead, and also the au pair, which is in the corner here, and Rowena Drake, because Rowena Drake specifically is connected to the will because she was cut out of the will. We have made our first connections. Granted, I usually don't think that the first conclusion is correct, so I'm not thinking it's any of the people, but we have some connections now, right? However, I believe in my heart that I deserve a treat, so I will be making myself toast. A sleuth's gotta eat, you know? Hello, I am back and I have more things to put on the board. Do you remember how there was this lady, Llewellyn Smith, and she was one of the people who died a couple of years ago who might possibly have been one of the people who might possibly have been the murder that Joy saw that at the time she didn't think was a murder? Well, there are a couple other people who also died around the same time who might have been the person murdered. One of them was Janet White. Janet White was 24 years old and she was strangled to death. Now, you might be asking yourself, okay, great, but how does Janet White fit into all of this? Well, glad you asked. So, Janet White was a school teacher. Who knew Janet White? The other school teacher who was there, who was Mrs. Whitaker. So, we need a connection thread right there. Also, we have a new event to put on, which was this lovely one that says strangled to death. We also have another person named Nora. This lady, Mrs. Minden, was the housekeeper for Llewellyn Smith, okay? And then once Llewellyn Smith, she then became the housekeeper for Rowena Drake. So let's go ahead and connect all of the connections right now. Okay. Okay, so far, this is what the new board is looking like. It is 11:30. I am so tired. I am so tired. This is where I'm gonna have to leave it tonight. I'm gonna go to sleep. I will catch up with you in the morning. Bye. Good morning, my loves, and welcome to day number 2 of trying to solve my first Agatha Christie murder mystery. I have read Agatha Christie before, by the way. This is just the first one that I'm trying to solve. I'm on my porch. It's a very cold autumn day. This is like the first day that it's cold. I'm in my sweater and I need my cozy cup of coffee. I'm very excited to continue on. I have a couple theories forming so far, but nothing worth sharing yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my reading glasses on, / my just regular glasses, drink some of my nice warm coffee while it's still piping hot outside, and continue reading Agatha Christie. Hello. Okay, so I've come inside just for a second because I want to fill out my notebook with a couple more different points. You know what I mean. Okay, so one thing that I think is really interesting is that everyone keeps saying that this girl was a liar and that she lied about going to India, right? She keeps saying like, oh, I went to India, I had all this fun time. No one believes her, and apparently that didn't happen. But we just met her friend. She has a friend named Miranda, and Miranda seems really, really clever, really, really smart, really, really sharp. And she says, Joyce was my best friend. She says, like, we used to talk about things all the time. She told me about going to India. We would talk about elephants and things like that. I think it's interesting because no one believes Joyce. However, this girl, Miranda, is very credible. She seems like a very, very credible source. There is no doubt in her mind that this girl went to India. And it's interesting because I'm wondering, did she actually go to India, or does India represent something? So I'm gonna make some notes about some of these things. And then also, can I just say, the gardener, creepy. Okay, I realized that I said that the gardener was creepy, but I didn't explain why. He's just like chilling, pretending to be, I don't know, like Achilles in a garden, a Greek statue. He thinks he's beautiful. Poirot is like talking to him and he's like, did you ever talk to Joyce? And he was like, no, because like she was uninteresting, and I think kids are so uninteresting. I think they're so boring. But I just want to be like, well then, sir, why were you at this Halloween party? He does not have any kids of his own. It's a party for children. I don't know. I get weird vibes. So, okay.
Hello, my loves. Okay, so we are on a time crunch now. We are on a time crunch now, but I have to update the board and I have to update you. So we have now reached phase 4 of the board. Let me show you what's new. First of all, I have added Michael to the board because he was present at the party and he did have a connection to both the old lady that died and actually, I don't know his connection with this lady. Why was he at the party? He didn't have any kids and he says that he doesn't like kids. So why the hell was he at a kid's party? I don't know. I don't think he is now this lady's gardener. I don't think so. But we do know a couple things about his connection now. This Llewellyn lady who died, apparently he was her gardener, and in the new will, she left him the house and the garden. So I've gone ahead and I've added a new event, which is this new will that has been created. We've also added a new character.
We've got Miranda right here, 12 years old, and it says that she was a very good friend of Joyce. So this is the new web that we have here. We have here that the au pair disappears. This is new. We have that this lady dies and that I need to connect these two because the au pair benefited from the new will right before she disappeared. Let me connect these two. Hold on. Miranda is also connected to the garden because that's where we met her. And she says that she hangs out in the garden all the time and she sees lots of stuff all the time. And the garden obviously is connected to Michael. So is Michael connected to Miranda? I'm going to guess yes.
A lot is going on in this board and I don't have a lot of time to solve this case. So let's get back to reading. Well, you guys, we don't have very long. We have 3 hours, less than 3 hours to finish the book, crack the case, get ready for the live show, and also buy stuff to make drinks. So the confidence level is, I don't know, but we do have stuff that we can add here. So let's refresh the board.
I've gone ahead and already added a couple extra things. So I have added this legal advisor lawyer guy, Jeremy Fuller, who was at the party. I have added his, I guess like his assistant or something who used to work for him. This guy actually was involved in a forgery like legal case or whatever. He died though. He was knifed to death. I have also added this person, Jim. Jim lives in Australia. Jim was not present, but Jim was a gardener who is also a witness to the new will. And then finally, I also added a new little event thing, forgery, because forgery kind of connects a bunch of things. Okay, so here's what, I know it looks confusing, but here's the new board and the new connections.
So I do feel like I have a pretty clear-cut idea of what's happened, but this makes it seem like a lot of people are involved and we're missing a couple things. I'm missing a couple key things. I need to finish reading up until 24 and then we will update the board one final time together and then I will tell you my prediction. Friends, it is 3:12. We have less than 2 hours and I have just read up to what I was supposed to read up to. And I think I've added the last couple of puzzle pieces. So let me show you the last couple of things that I've added to the board.
We have indeed discovered that there was a body in the well and that the body was the au pair. Miranda in the very last chapter gets picked up by some strange old man with a gray beard. And she literally says, "You look so funny like that." So something about this person's appearance is off from how it normally is. I'm gonna guess that it's the gray beard. I'm gonna guess that this person is wearing a disguise. We have a couple other things too. I went ahead and I added this person who is the school headmistress because
Poirot thinks that she knows who did it. So maybe the answer is the obvious person, but maybe the answer is somewhere buried in this. So I'm gonna come up with a couple different theories and I'm gonna brainstorm for a little bit and then I will finally tell you my overall conclusion. But first, I'm gonna do the last couple of threads so that I can have like my conclusion board. Okay. Okay, my loves, I think I have cracked the case. So I will just do the disclaimer and say I don't think that I actually cracked the case because there's too many plot holes that I don't know, but it's the only thing I've got and the live show is in less than 30 minutes. So let me see if I can wrap this up and tell you my prediction and then we will find out together if I'm actually right. Okay, I am sticking with the very first, I don't know what to wave. I am sticking with the very first theory that I came up with, which is that the gardener did it. I think that Joyce would have to be in a position where she could could see him, but he could not see her. And he would have to be doing something inconspicuous. Like whoever Joyce saw as the murderer would have had to have been doing something that was kind of far away and looked like a regular job. So if she saw the murderer, if she saw the gardener burying a body, she could have thought at the time that maybe it was like a plant or a tree or something like that. So what I think happened was I think that Joyce saw the gardener burying the au pair. And I think she thought that it was like a plant. Technically, the well is involved, but I'm gonna say that he was burying a body in the ground, but she was found in the well. She must have seen the gardener throwing the body in the well or closing up the well or putting a different body in the ground. Maybe she didn't see the au pair, maybe she saw a different body, okay? I think when she said this at the party, he was not there, and that's why she felt safe enough to say, I once saw a murder. What she did not know was that Mrs. Drake was aware of the murder. I don't actually think Mrs. Drake had anything to do with this. I don't think she's working with the gardener, or like maybe she was, I really don't know, but I don't think that she was. However, I think that she decided not to say anything because if the gardener ended up getting the house and the garden, everything else was left to her because her husband, he died. I think if she had said anything, she wouldn't have gotten any of the money. And so she decided not to say anything. But I think it was Mrs. Drake who overheard Joyce. And I think she told the gardener when he was there for the party. But I think she was startled because I don't think that she thought that the gardener would have killed Joyce in her home during the party. I also happen to think it was the gardener because the gardener was literally drawing Miranda. How creepy is that, right? He's also very, very attractive and like super beautiful. So I could see how like a lot of girls possibly fell in love with him. Like there's a lot of women who died. That was the other thing. That was the other connection that I had. Okay, so do you remember how Poirot went to the school teacher and was like, do you know who did it? And she was like, I think I do. I kept thinking that has to mean that it's Mrs. Whitaker because she doesn't know the gardener, right? But then I remembered this. Janet White was a beautiful young teacher who apparently was like, oh, she strangled to death or something like that. I really have no idea. I'm thinking actually that she was dating the gardener and I think he killed her. Now my question is why? I can see why he would kill Joyce because he needs to like keep the will and all that other stuff a secret because I think that's all a cover up. I think that the real will was reforged by Leslie and then once it was reforged, he died. But I don't know why some of these women are dying. Like why is this guy killing so many women? I'm assuming he's burying them all in the garden. Oh my God. And you know what? Poirot mentions to him, he's like, I could see you in Greece. Oh, wait a second. At the very, oh my God, wait, hold on. On page 233, the evidence pointed to it all along. When a girl disappears, there are not many reasons, blah, blah, blah. He says, I've been in touch with a well-known firm of estate agents, friends of mine who specialize in estate in the West Indies, the Mediterranean, and other places. He mentions to that guy, I could see you in Greece. Is it possible that this guy is planning on going to Greece after talking to Poirot? But why is he killing all of these women? I think that the reason might possibly be tied to like this idea of like magic and rituals. Maybe he thinks if he kills a lot of beautiful women, he'll stay gorgeous himself. I don't know. That's the one plot point that I'm really not understanding is like how some of these women's death were like involved. But I have to tell you, the more I'm talking about it, the more I think it really is the gardener. But you guys, I did so much work. I have so many pages just like filled with notes from this Agatha Christie case. Wait, hold on. Look at all this. I mean, like I was diligent, okay? I like was separating stuff. So if I did not, wow, I did write a lot. If I did not get all of it correct, that's okay. Or like even a little bit, it was really, really fun. But I think that's my final guess is the gardener. It is 4:42. I have 15 minutes to get everything ready and set up for this live. I'll let you know how it goes. Let's go to the live show and see who everyone thinks killed Joyce. Okay. friends, it is now 8:04. The live show was so much fun. I feel like my voice is going. And then after the live show, Gavin and I had a nice little chat. We caught up, we hung out. It was really, really nice. It is 8 o'clock though, and I feel like that was a good conclusion to the sleuthing. We'll go ahead and cut to the end and I'll tell you what I got right and what I got wrong. But overall, I'm pretty proud of my predictions. Okay, bye. And there you have it. That is the actual case done. So, in the end, the people responsible for Joyce's death were Mrs. Drake and the gardener. But it wasn't actually Joyce who saw the murder. It was her friend. And her friend accidentally saw the murder when she was hiding out in a tree. Okay, so how did I actually do? I'm gonna be very generous and give myself half of a point because the gardener was quite responsible for multiple deaths, although technically Mrs. Drake was the one who killed Joyce. I'm also gonna go ahead and give myself another half a point for knowing that the person who witnessed the murder saw it in a tree, but I only get half of a point because I thought it was Joyce and it turns out it was her friend. And also all the stuff that I said about the gardener falling in love with only beautiful women, no. He was only there for the plants. Also, I mentioned this, but how funny is it that a gardener did all of this just so that he could make another garden? I mean, at least he's got his hobbies, you know? But I think that's it, you guys. I would say for my very first attempt at solving an Agatha Christie murder mystery, it didn't go actually awful. I think that I did kind of okay. Gavin obviously killed it. He did way better than me, and I highly, highly recommend checking out his vlog for it. All of his vlogs involving the Agatha Christie murder mysteries are so good. I just really, really enjoy them so much. I also really enjoy Emmy's as well. Emmy's are so good as well. And I think that she recently did one too, and I will link that down below as well. But you guys, I think that's it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and seeing how I did in trying to solve this in 24 hours. We do fun things like this all the time over at my Patreon and over on Gavin's Patreon. I will link both Patreons down below. And a huge, huge thank you once again to the sponsor of today's video, which is Blue Land. Highly recommend checking them out. All the links for them will be down below, as well as a huge thank you to all of my Patreon members who are all supporting me and this channel, especially the Ink and Quilt Club, who are all the executive producers of every video that I create. I love you all so much. I hope you have the most cozy day ever. And until next time, book lovers, keep your head in the clouds and your heart in a book. And I will talk to you very soon. Stay spooky.
I know you're just a thought.